Welcome back to my channel, and as always, I hope you're doing absolutely amazing. Today on the show, y'all, trip planning. GPSs, atlases, and more. Stay tuned. Hello, this is Zach. As always, I hope you're doing absolutely amazing. So, trip planning is very important. If you're doing long distance trips like what I do pretty much all the time, there are a few things that you need to have with you that I would make sure to get before your trip. First thing is, have a good idea of where you're going. Maps and atlases like this one are very much essential items to have on your trip, because an atlas can tell you what kind of over-the-road route you're taking and which way to get to your destination. The second thing I would have on board my vehicle at all times, in addition to the emergency supplies, which I will get into in another episode, is to have a simple two-way radio. This way you can communicate with other drivers should any situation occur. I like these little FRS ones. They're about $25, $30. This one for a pair of them is about $100, but that's because this one also has a couple of additional features that I use occasionally during my off-road excursions. Third thing to have. And yes, I know this one's a little bit pricier than most, but you can find a calculator like this one for under $50. And these are great for fuel mileage calculations, for trying to convert miles to kilometers. In addition to that, they can convert temperatures. And it really would also be a great tool if you're trying to teach a kid math while you're driving, because then the kid can do the calculations on there and come up with the result that hopefully you're expecting. Another thing to have is drinks. Both a bottle of distilled water and cans of caffeinated soft drinks, or perhaps shakes like these, will actually help you go further down the road without being dehydrated. And dehydration, by the way, is a serious medical condition that needs urgent attention if it happens. Another thing to bring with you is your toiletries. Make sure you got some deodorant, some toothpaste, toothbrushes, etc. for each person in the vehicle. Now in my case, I've only got myself and my co-driver, and he brings his own. So a small toiletry kit like that can cost you around maybe $5, $10, depending on what kind of stuff you have to bring in it. Now, a lot of states have phone laws these days. So a phone holder and a headset like the one I have on are invaluable. Fines for a phone violation range from $200 to $2,750, depending on what type of vehicle you're driving and how bad the trooper is that day. So I would encourage you to get your eyes up, put your phone down, and use a holder, perhaps one of those little vent-mounted ones or a little dash-mounted one like I use. And those go for anywhere between $10 and $15 at your favorite Walmart or truck stop or on Amazon. Also, make sure you have a phone charger. I like this Goal 01. It's got a built-in emergency flashlight. It's also rechargeable. Those are typically more expensive, but it depends on what you want to run with it. A cheap power bank goes for $15. Those go for, the Goal 0 Torch 250 goes for around $100, but is well worth the money in my case. Another thing to have with you is a reflector vest. I'm going to go ahead and throw mine on right quick. A reflector vest like this one is useful if you're, let's say, at the gas station at night, or you have to pull over and change a tire. It's a good addition to your emergency kit in any case, and for around $10 to $15, you can have the additional protection that comes from being seen. Now let me get this vest off. Now let's say you want to document your trip. Sure, there's plenty of good phones out there, and there's plenty of good cameras. For documenting a trip, you don't have to go expensive. In fact, I'd encourage you rent gear if you can help it. And one of my favorite cameras to document a trip is the Olympus OMD EM10 Mark II. Now, I get to use this camera all the time, pretty much when I'm not shooting rodeo. I have EM1s and a Canon 77D for shooting rodeo, which the latter item is expected to be changed out this year for another piece of Olympus glass. But these are very simple to use, point and shoot. Well, I take that back. These are very simple, easy to use, mirrorless cameras with interchangeable lenses and some very advanced features. And in the case of the Canon 77D, it's a large DSLR, which you can probably look up on the internet if you're needing an image of that. I really like to use these for street photography as well as for recording my travel adventures. And then for my rodeo shoots, as I mentioned before, I have the Olympus EM1. And you can see the beastie battery grip and such on there. And that one's got the 12 to 200 lens on it. These are both great cameras for documenting trips. But in addition to that, they have all the modern mirrorless features. They have, of course, the interchangeable lenses, so I can actually swap lenses between the two of them. And they're really not that expensive. So if you're going to go and take a road trip and you need a camera to document this stuff, I would highly recommend one of them. Any one of the three I've mentioned so far, for that matter. Of course, you could get something like the Canon SL3 or Canon PowerShot 2, or the Olympus Tough TG6. Those are all great cameras as well. In fact, I'll say this much. There are no bad cameras for documenting a road trip. But there are plenty of bad photographers, so learning composition and learning how to do a shoot before your trip is essential. And for those of you who are becoming future truck drivers, having a camera like that is also great in the situation where, let's say, someone damages the stuff that is on your truck. I really like to be able to document that kind of stuff, so that way it's more of a CYA thing, a cover your rear. And also, some of the phones nowadays are getting better too. I've seen some pretty decent images coming out of models like the LG Q7 Plus, which I'm filming myself with, Apple's newest iPhones, etc. So you don't have, like I said, you don't have to spend a lot on a camera to document your trip. Another thing to consider when you're out on the road is what the weather's going to do. Now, I have a few sources that I like to check. Many of you are aware that one of my favorite weathermen is David Finfrock at NBC5 here in Fort Worth. Checking the weather before you go out is always a good idea. Anyways, it's gonna be a hot one out there. So today, of course, I'll be wearing lightweight stuff both out to my rodeo practice tonight, and also when I go check on my medications before that practice starts. So I would encourage you all to stay cool. Lightweight t-shirt, some sunscreen, and anyways, y'all take care. Y'all have a good day, and I'll see you down the road. Let's make your next trip your best trip. Bye for now.